a big part of WPATH and the element of them, the cohort among them who have written their very influential treatment guidelines, is that they all definitively have and are in fact required to have to be on this guideline committee intellectual conflict of interest. And we hear a lot about financial conflict of interest. If you own stock in Pfizer and you're out there promoting their vaccine and not disclosing that kind of thing, that's a very definitive and well-known type of financial conflict of interest. But an intellectual conflict of interest is something that's of great concern to the evidence-based medicine community, which is when you have a guideline committee that's designing, what should we do to treat heart disease, XYZ. Ideally, yes, you have experts who work in that field on the committee, but you also have people who have an expertise in just evidence-based medicine in general and analyzing data, but who don't have any skin in the game, who, if they decided, actually spinal fusions are bunk, we should just cancel them all tomorrow. You need people who are not spinal surgeons who can say that if that is indeed what the research says. And by the way, a lot of spinal surgery is indeed bunk and people recover. But for a lot of spinal surgery, people recover at the same rate, whether they have a sham surgery or like a spinal fusion. But it still goes on because it's extremely profitable. And so you have to ask yourself, there's sort of a blend between the financial and conflicts of interest and intellectual ones. The financial conflict of interest part of it being that that's your job. And, if all your patients are going to vanish, then there goes your clinic. So it's a little hard to take faith in the guidelines when they were created by people such as Marcy Bowers, who behind closed doors are acknowledging to one another that the science isn't very strong. And in fact, and we know this because of subpoenaed emails from the Alabama court case that I referenced earlier, it's a civil suit that was brought by plaintiffs against that state's ban of pediatric gender transition treatment, so puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. So the Alabama Attorney General very aggressively subpoenaed all of these records from WPATH, and lo and behold, we've learned a lot from those emails. They all came out last summer.